Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We are glad to welcome you at the International Conference of the Prospects of Development International Cooperation with Shipbuilding. And we thank for NIVA International Group and support from various companies. To hear the translation, please, at the bottom of the screen, you press the translation button, and you can choose Russian language or English language. In the terms of chat in our conference, when you can ask questions of technical or other things. And I'm giving the floor to the moderator. It's to Professor Kirill Radzinsky, Director of Department of International Cooperation. It was Svetlana Mezhova. Finnish and Russian colleagues, I'm glad to welcome you at the International Online Conference, Russia-Finland Prospect Development International Cooperation, the area of shipbuilding. Normally we have 3-minute welcome speeches and about 5 minutes for presentations. It's clear that Finland is our close neighbor and close partner and friend. We've got plenty of friends. Those who are dealing with shipbuilding. So I'd like to introduce my colleagues. It's Professor Traskin. He's the chair of the Department of Naval Architecture of St. Petersburg Marine Technical University. And he is a well-known scientist in marine technologies who works with the Russian Maritime Register, works with Russian and Finnish organizations. Professor Pentikuela, Professor of Maritime Technologies, University of Alta. We organize a lot of joint events. He helps us with visits of Finnish students, an exchange of students, and visits of Finnish students of shipbuilding facilities. I hope that he'll come visit us. Can you hear me, Fenty?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
The first part of our conference is dedicated to analysis of the market and trends and prospects of the market and prospects of Russian-Finnish cooperations. Ilya Pomlev was to make a speech as the head of the Department of Maritime Equipment, Technical Regulation, Intellectual Property, and Department of Shipbuilding Industry and Maritime Equipment of Minpромторg. But unfortunately, he was unable to speak. So they asked us to shortly, briefly speak on his behalf. Minpромторg welcomes the participants online conference. Minpромторg thanks NIVA International Company in St. Petersburg Center of expert support for organizing this event and possibility to speak here. Finland is an old-time reliable partner of Russia. And it rates the 14th in the trade turnover annually. In 2020, reduced by 26% and to $10 billion, and import for 17% was compared from 2019 to 2020. And also the export also dropped by 93%. The pandemic had a great impact, a great hit on the trade turnover and cooperation between Finland and Russia. On the other hand, Russian market of shipbuilding in 2020 saw 26% growth, up to 23 billion rubles, and overall tonnage and gross tonnage increased by 59%. And it's a number of delivered ships with tonnage at 50,000 tons. The second year straight, the overall cost of civil shipping is 126 billion rubles compared to 103 billion rubles of naval ships orders. And the biggest share is on the icebreakers. Baltic factory finished Arctic icebreaker, 63 megawatt power, over 40 billion rubles value. Admiralty shipyard built Victor Chernomyrdin diesel electrical icebreaker. Zvezda delivered Rosneft it's a volume tanker. In civil shipbuilding, the number of delivered ships the leaders are the dry cargo vessels. Also, a lot of barges have been built. The prospects are also high tonnage vessels and fishing vessels are going to be the leaders. The planning of building of over 1,000 vessels of different type, and we are promoting relationship with Finland. Wärtsilä got the contract of radio and navigation systems for tankers and icebreakers and LNG carriers in the framework of Arctic LNG 2. And the assembly of equipment is in 2022. Kotka-Hamina, along with operator of Port Logistic, Port Vyborg, and for terminals of St. Petersburg, and Russian facade, starting implementation of new cruise vessels, cruise passenger line links vessels. They are offering modern cruise liners. Nordic Finnish company starting cooperation with yard dealer in Russia, company Smart Yards. Thanks to the partnerships of Nordic, wants to increase its range of products and attract new clients. Russian aluminum powerboats became into the three highly rated and highest demand vessels in the Finnish market. In 2020, the sale of powerboats increased by 23%. And in this quarter, they reached a 30% mark. Also, the spare parts and components for boats are in high demand, and the sales in Finland are on the increase. And the Finnish distributors are interested in all these products. Today, the most promising forms of international cooperations is production, cooperation, exchange of technologies, and know-how in the Russian market, especially on localization of shipbuilding. We've got joint interests in parts of the Arctic development. Both countries in this sphere have good competences and very good experience that the countries can exchange. The Arctic Council shows that our countries can have very close interaction in social, economic, environmental works and development of the Arctic area. And we hope that Russian and Finnish entrepreneurs and businesses will continue their joint activities. And we're always glad to promote the development of trade relationships between our two countries, Russia and Finland. Thank you. It is the thesis of Minprom Minister of Industry and Trade. And now we're turning to presentation. Sergei Sinelnikov, the trade representative of Russian Federation in Finland. Please, Sergei. Good afternoon, dear participants. I'm glad to welcome you at this event of development of bilateral cooperation. Firstly, I can hear that our countries are strategic partners with great potential of building the potential in terms of icebreakers, logistic and support vessels. Also the areas of environmental issues of cleaning the emissions. And Helsinki shipyard is an example of this kind of cooperations, and they're dealing with the support vessels, icebreakers, tankers, and other specialized vessels. And they've delivered vessels for Norilsk Nigis, Sovcom Float, Vardanetsky Terminal, and others. And all these projects are dedicated to production of energy resources in the north of Russia and Far East. And also the WRF in 2016 implement the project of construction of innovative icebreaker Polaris for Finnish icebreaking company Arctic. And also in September 2019, the shipyard completed construction and delivered the tankers for gas condensate transportation Irkutsk. And they're getting the third, also the shipyard received the order construction of cruise liners of ice class. Also, there is Arctic technology takes great part in our cooperation. And in 2006, over 40 Arctic vessels of different purpose were built for the needs of Russian energy companies. Arctic also has projects on the Korean shipyards, Daewoo shipbuilding, marine engineering, building 15 vessels for LNG. And also the ABB and Wärtsilä companies from Finland are developing onboard equipment and propulsion systems. And they're making vessels for a number of propulsion systems for more vessels. And ABB in July 2019, Energomash signed the memorandum of understanding with Arctic technology in view of cooperation in the area of design of the vessels and project management. They will assess investment attractiveness of floating nuclear power plants and floating power plants on LNG. Besides Wärtsilä and ABB, RS company also provides engineering services and it supplies isopods, propulsors, and also supplies the components for shipbuilding. And in the framework of Intergovernmental Russian-Finnish Commission on Economic Development, the work group on shipbuilding is operating actively, and it is supervised by Minprom from the Russian side. And on the 2nd of November 2020, this work group had a video meeting. And notice Special Economic Zone Lotus shows great interest in cooperation with Finnish companies. On its territories, a number of projects are underway, like construction and repair of vessels of different types and production of different components. And the next meeting of the work group is planned for the fourth quarter 2021. And trade representative, trade mission in Finland is an active participant in organization of work group, and we are planning to increase our activities at the end of the pandemic. Dear colleagues, we are glad to expand our contacts with the shipbuilding class of Russia and Finland, and we're glad that this kind of dialogues are taking place, and we hope that in the near future we'll be again together jointly working on our projects, and also in the framework of the International Exhibition Conference NIVA. Thanks for your attention. And I'd like to give the floor to our Finnish colleagues, Mikko Niini.
Mikko, I can hear you. Mikko, I can hear you very well.
Thank you, Mr. Nini. In your report, it was very interesting to hear you have stressed that Finland is the leader in construction of icebreakers, and we see permanently and hear that new icebreakers appear, well-known Baltic icebreaker designed by the Arctic company and built up an Intec company in Kaliningrad. This is an example of a good cooperation. And Russia launches new and new icebreakers, icebreaker Arctica and icebreaker Siberia and other ships of ice class. My co-moderator, Mr. Kraftin, said that he knows you well and he got acquainted to you approximately 40 years ago. I would like to give the floor to Vladimir Nikolaevich, the floor, who is the representative of Arctic Shipyard, for giving his comments. I represent the company which has been earlier called in other way, and with Finnish companies we had quite good relation somewhere in 90s of the previous century, and I'm willing to remind you how we met in Helsinki when we decided a project for large gas transporter, which has been ordered to Finnish company, and we during this time there was a discussion who is wrong, who is has right, and it became clear that discussion was really very interesting. And generally saying, university during long time deals with this topic, and we started cooperation with Finnish side in 70s of the last century when Johansson, well known to you, developed requirements for sea administration, and we negotiated long, and after that, at the chair of ship design chair, we developed rules for icebreakers and also which were used in construction of large series of container transporters built in Finland, and this was good ground for cooperation. And regarding what you mentioned right now, that it is necessary to build up our, boost our cooperation, I have to mention that in 2020, we developed a new requirement for icebreakers, taking into account that modern icebreakers have specific shape of the body. It doesn't correspond to a new understanding of the ice which was existed in 50s and 70s of the last century. So requirements which were given to calculate loads on the body of the icebreaker were redeveloped, and I think that problems appear, including regarding icebreakers. We are ready to cooperate with you, and we continue boosting our cooperation, and we are very glad cooperating with you, being at the same time competitors. I'm willing to stress that Mr. Nini at the same time calls for boosting cooperation in the Arctic Council, and we'll give this request to our ship builders. I give the floor to Valentin Nakhotkin, Chairman of the Marketing and Sales of the Unified Shipbuilding Corporation. Good afternoon, dear members of the conference. First of all, I'm willing to thank Russian and Finnish side for giving the floor to exchange information, which will help in establishing cooperation in the future. A couple of words about Russian shipbuilding industry. During several years, we continued our cooperation, and now we design and construct all types of ships. Please speak in Russian channel. Please select Russian channel and press the button Russian. I'm able to speak English. Interpreter may interpret. Is it better? Just a second. Valentin, please select the Russian channel. Please select Russian channel. So, okay, please speak English in
Valentin, thanks a lot. So an interesting picture is being unrolled of enhancing our cooperation. And it comes from the mouth of the United Shipbuilding Corporation. And actually, it encompasses a lot of companies that are building a lot of vessels, icebreakers. And we are, thanks, Valentin, and technological partnership in transfer innovation and cooperation in Arctic development, the second section. And I'm giving the floor to Petr Nikolaevich, the chair of the development of the department of the ice ice condition studies, technologies of route optimization, ice conditions, Russian and Finnish studies. I'm glad to welcome all the participants. And this presentation, technologies of route optimization, ice conditions, Russian and Finnish studies. so-called task of weather routing is interesting point. And the task of machinery equipment has come recently, and the studies will come from the Finnish studies, Finnish Institute of Technology, and it was the basis for creating modern university Alta. And it was continued in Espoo Center. And the first and the second lines are dedicated to this of the studies. Also, researchers published number of also University says published number of publications on routing of vessels and paid to ice ridges, and Finnish authors at the end of the first decade of 2000s started implementing the models they built, and you can see the results of IRIS system that was developed by ITT. You can see the route made using this system. The left image represents from works of the mid of the 2010s, and the main interest of Finnish scientists is dedicated to risks on the path, and it's for the vessel in sailing independently, and the crosses show the place of stocking of the vessels in ice. You can see this yellow crosses. From weather routing, differently from weather routing task, now the multi-equatorial optimization task is important. It's not only the task to optimize the fuel consumption and energy consumption, but also it's minimizing the risk of getting the damage on the road. And as the interest lies in the optimum solution. On the left image shows red and green solutions relatively to this criteria: maximum ice thickness on the way and route length. Based you cannot shift from these solutions without reducing the quality of the process. And the university scientists use this system optimization, and development of technology of optimization of the route is closely related to dynamics of the dynamic single criteria. You can see also this weather routing task lies as a basis for this consideration. Appearance and disappearance of adverse conditions is at different points is considered here. New developments of optimization of the vessel route in ice conditions were performed by Polytech University, St. Petersburg Polytech University researchers. And the 3D graphs models were used to develop this method to allow automatic obtain of shortest routes at different risk limitations. So you can see the length of the route, maximum risks of the route, and the number of course changes. And so all the algorithm allows to build the optimum route. This slide shows the results of calculations of the routes. And two dynamic ice objects. And the risk defined is the distance to the edge of this ice object. And you can see three routes, red, lilac, and green. The red is the most risky path, risky route. The lilac is the medium risk, and the green route is the least dangerous. The conclusion: Finnish and Russian researchers have got significant ground in the problem on an assisted vessel routing in ice conditions. The preferable statement of the routing problem is multi-criterial. At least two criteria should be taken into account: travel cost and travel risk. And such a model, routing models of the future will take into account the dynamic of ice field condition. This kind of model has been developed by the research. Thanks for your attention. Thanks, Petr Nikolaevich. Very interesting presentation of its very scientific nature. Ms. Vaikunska was dealing with this, and we've been dealing with this kind of problems, and she was a co-author. Our colleague from Aalto University, Pentti Koilla, I would like Professor Koilla to comment this presentation.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you for inviting me to this very interesting seminar about Russia-Finland cooperation in shipbuilding. So very happy to see my old friends again, even though it's remote, but hopefully one day we can meet again physically. Thank you, Peter. Very good summary what we have been doing, and as you know, this kind of route optimization will be more and more important in future, because we have to save energy, we have to save fuel, so we have to find the optimum route. So this topic will be more and more important in future. And another interesting thing is that the ice is getting more complicated. You know, it's maybe less ice, but it's more dynamic ice in future. So we have to be this. I'm very happy about this, that you have been developing a dynamic model, because that's the future. Ice conditions are very, very dynamic, and in future more. So we need this kind of dynamic tools to solve these problems. Maybe one question to Peter: do you think that we have enough accurate data of ice? Because my main worry is the ice data, because today the satellite data is maybe not accurate enough. So what is your opinion about the ice data? Do we have enough detailed ice data? No, we cannot hear you, Peter. Peter, you're muted. You're muted.
I give the floor to Mr. Traskin, who's been dealing this issue of optimizations of the route. It's very interesting. We need to speak about not about the property of the vessel to move in the ice, but also its structure, its design. We need to take into account its design of the vessel. And we have to have very accurate data. And what we obtain from the results of the studies of the 1980s also can be taken into account. And we can attract those data that was obtained by mathematical methods. And I would like to say that and to point it out. So to use this a very powerful actually tool. I would like to join the words and to add to the words of Vladimir Nikolaevich. It's a complex work, and data ice fields on thickness of the fields. We need also the actually propulsion performance of the vessel should be taken into account, and the nature of motion of the vessel, movement of the vessel in the ice. And in the regulations we need, shipping regulations, we need also to take into account. So for this type of vessel or the icebreaker, we need to take into account all the studies. And it's a complex work involving engineers and shipbuilders. Mr. Coella, who's been leading a number of projects in our cooperation. It's very interesting and number of projects in the Arctic. SIMRAC project, very well known, about safe navigation, and for the simulators that simulate the movement of ships, sail of the ships in ice conditions. He works with Mr. Zvagan and with Marine Technical University. Thank you. Now,
thank you.
Let me give the floor. It has to be given to Sigudal, who's regional manager of Russia, of ICA Arctic in Russia. It's an overview of modern ICA Arctic projects. And Mr. Traskin was his research chief supervisor of Alexei Svagin. Alexei, do that presentation, please.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые участники конференции. Меня зовут Алексей Дудов. Я являюсь региональным менеджером по России компании ICA Arctic.
In Russia of ICA Arctic company.
Современных проектов
and I'm giving the overview of modern projects, of up-to-date project of ICA Arctic that were implemented by ICA Arctic. I'd like to say a couple of words about our company. And ICA Arctic is rooting from the industry of Finnish icebreaking. And it's big difference from other companies. And starting in 2005, it's an independent company with its own laboratory and its test tank. Its ice tank is located in Helsinki. We've got offices in St. Petersburg and in Shanghai, China. The team amounts to 50 specialists in different areas, especially in different areas, ship design and modeling and full-scale tests, consulting services, design and sales of equipment, also consulting and sales. Also, we design the isopods and the propeller screws. We know our know-how and the software that we use to provide our clients with our services. I would like to present Arctic gas carrier that was developed along with Novatec company and SME companies joint design. It's a second generation gas carrier. It actually is dedicated for around the year operation in ice conditions. You remember the first generation? Cristaux de Marché series gas carrier. And the modern gas carriers have a higher speed in the ice, and also they can go in narrow channels. So the parameters are provided using Polarctic, using the modern ideas when we design the hull lines. Also, we have a joint project with Atomenergo. It's the concept of semi-submersible vessel, semi-submerged vessel. We made a research study during which we developed the hull shape, and it allows to work with in narrow channels along with icebreakers. And you can see, you can use we can use propeller screw type and propeller screw shaft type, and also azipod type. And actually, gas carrying requires huge space. And for this, for these vessels, it's required for carrying the loads. And ballast system was also an intention. And this vessel can also run on LNG. And the ballast system provides a safe system when it's semi-submerged. It's got 70,000 tons of tonnage. Lately, we've been discussing of concept of using container ships passing the Northern Sea route. This container ship for round-the-year operation in the northern along the Northern Sea route. And this concept requires less fuel consumption and meets all the environmental requirements. And we consider all kinds of propulsion units. It's a hybrid unit. And we've got one propeller shaft and also thruster, and also option of two screw shafts. Also, we're dealing with optimization, route optimization in the ice.
Develops itineraries in ice.
Actually, the shortest path between 2 points in ice is not the best solution.
Most efficient work is passing along the ice.
And using polonias and using open water routes is more benefit. And Arctic, along with its partners, develops the software that helps to analyze the ice maps and compare the information with ice passing capacity of the vessel. And it allows to optimize the route for the most efficient operation. Another project,
interesting project,
it's a removable bow
in 2020
bow part.
Has been designed and constructed.
It was built
self-propelled nose, which is dedicated for work.
Dedicated for working in Sima Lake. And this kind of bow section, removable bow section, has already been used for operation in Russia and Finland.
The main difference of this ship is
and actually it is self-propelled bow
has been
part.
Designed by our company. Although
it has been designed by Alphonse Haken's company.
Two shafts
An acre.
600 kilowatt.
Arctic designed and supplied to screw shafts, 600 kilowatt capacity for this
in internal waters,
part.
It is not required to construct.
And in this case, the benefit of this kind of equipment is redundancy of additional icebreaker, and it can be used for river applications.
Along the itinerary.
Also
Plus,
supplied
our company developed
ice loads on the shaft monitoring system.
Which is very
Another
relevant
topical
today during work in Arctic
issue is energy efficiency of the vessel.
Requirement
and the environment requirements are constantly being updated and strengthened.
In our projects,
Arctic considers latest technologies in emissions
exhaust gases and waters,
the performance of the power plant. We optimize the hull lines to minimize friction and minimize the fuel consumption.
And between
we consider
fuel,
nuclear power, LNG,
hydrogen, natural
ammonium,
gas,
methanol, and other fuels are considered.
In our projects, and it is necessary to pay attention
we need to take into consideration the infrastructure availability in every particular case of the vessel operation area, and also the nature of its operation. And all this is taken into account during the design stage. Thanks for your attention, and I'll answer all your questions,
which you may send to me or to my emails. Thank you, Alexei, and we'll send appropriate questions to you.
Thanks.
Now I'm willing to say that we are proud.
So we are proud
graduated from Sea Technical University.
He graduated from Marine Technical University.
Yes,
and he has master degree under the supervision.
To Paris,
and also he worked in Paris in Veritas agency.
Transition to Arctic. I am giving the floor to my neighbor.
Agency.
Very interesting report. It is visible that Arctic.
So we say that Arctic is developing.
Actively, this experimenting
developing company, and the optimization of hull lines allows the optimization of fuel efficiency.
Areas, and
we are dealing with this as well. So we are dealing with these issues. So we wish him the success
to his company.
Yeah.
I'm willing to stress that
Arctic is very interesting innovation,
and
interesting company, and this icebreaker is available in Baltica.
This is ice,
and it's a crooked.
The icebreaker is
actually it's bent icebreaker. It can be used in the canals
to widen channels, and also to avoid dropping oil over the board for further utilization.
It can be utilized it can be utilized, and this idea is very interesting. It belongs to the Russian.
Assigned to Russian company.
It belongs to the Russian ideas, because this opportunities come from Russia, and this icebreaker was built
becomes possible. And as I said,
in entire factory in Kaliningrad.
This icebreaker has been constructed.
And also this self-propelled bow part is also interesting. And actually it's tugged by the tug. It's pushed by attack. Yes, and it reminded me about the story, long short story, announced by Google. And also said that Arctic uses innovation technology of ice, making ice in the test tanks. I think in the University of Alta, so it is in Arctic. I think it's in University of Alta they use this technology. And these technologies of making ice, freezing the water in big. It's also used in Krylov Center. I'm giving the floor to Professor Krylov with comments.
And then for speech.
Sorry, it's now. Can I share my screen? I hope. Can you see my screen now? I hope.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Good. I have a few PowerPoints about Aalto University. Can you hear me? Yes. Good.
Yes, we hear you. Okay.
So I have a few slides about Aalto. Thank you once more for inviting me. It's a very, very interesting seminar, and I'm very happy to be here. I have a few slides about Aalto. And then, as I know, I'm a professor and I'm also vice dean for research nowadays in our school. And the history of Aalto is very short. We are a very young university, 2010, so about 10 years old. We put together 3 universities, Helsinki University of Technology, Helsinki University of Art, and Helsinki School of Economics. So it's a very new type of a university, different background universities put together. And why we do it? The idea is that the future innovations, we need business, we need technology, and we need art. So that's our idea, that in Aalto University, we can combine these different expertise. And that's why Aalto was established some 10 years ago. And we are very active on many topics like ICT. We are very active on ICT, art and design, materials, global business dynamics, advanced energy, human-centered living, which means like a smart cities, and health and well-being. So we are very widely studying different topics. And we are very happy to be, even though we are very small, as you know, Finland is a small country, but Aalto is a 9th top young university in the world. And we are very international, actually. Based on some ranking, we are the 35 in the world in international university. We have a number of students, international students. We have a number of faculty members, international. So we want to be international. And we also have a lot of Russian students and Russian faculty as well, as you know. We have 6 schools, School of Art, School of Business, School of Chemical Engineering, School of Electrical Engineering, School of Engineering, and School of Science. And we are on this mechanical engineering part. So that's our background. And then I go to maritime sector. Today in maritime, this is our focus areas. We have 6 professors working. We are very active on Arctic. We are very active on marine and fluid mechanics and operations. We are very active on marine structures and production. And then we have a new topic. We call it safe and efficient maritime systems, autonomous shipping. And then we have how to apply this computer engineering in naval architecture. That's the future. We also have to know how to apply this kind of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all these tools. They are very important. That's why we hired a new young professor. Masura is coming from Canada next week, and Masura is a computer engineering background, and she will educate us what's the future for how to combine this computer expertise and naval architecture. And as you know, we have been long history in ice. We have our own ice basin, as we heard. We have a similar way of doing ice, model ice as Arctic. They are using salt to make it weak, but we use alcohol to make it weak because we like more alcohol than salt. So we use alcohol to prepare our ice. We have a lot of full-scale measurements, and then we have also model scale, we have numerical modeling. And especially this essay Akulhas, I'm very happy. It's a very extensive full-scale data. It was built in Rauma shipyard 2012, and then it was delivered to South Africa. And it's an Antarctica maintenance vessel and passenger and a research vessel. So it goes from Cape Town to Antarctica once a year. And we have installed the vessel to measure ice loading on the hull and propulsion. And now we have 8-year data, and still the system is ongoing. And I think it's the longest data anybody has in ice full-scale data. Now it's 8 years, and we will continue. And we have a lot of cooperation, of course, internationally, and so on. And I'm running a special center of excellence. We call it Arctic Shipping and Operations. It's funded by Logistikester Foundation, 7-year projects, together with Norwegia, Canada, and Germany shipyards. And our main research approach is that we have theoretical modeling, then we have model scale testing, then we have full scale data. And we are very unique, I think, in the world that we can combine all these. As you know, Arctic shipping going in ice is really complicated. Ice is the most difficult material in the world, in my opinion. So, and the theoretical models of ice breaking needs experimental validation, and that's why all these 3 topics are important, and we are working on all of them. And then some examples about cooperation with especially St. Petersburg Maritime Technical University and Ake Arctic. So here is an example. We heard about this Ake Arctic. They have a year-round container vessel, and we, together with Ake Arctic, we optimized the ship hull so that we didn't use the regular, as typically use ice class rules. You can use PC or you can use Russian register rules. But in this case, we didn't use any rules. We make it so-called straits calculation, that we calculate load, we calculate strength, and then we determine the scantlings. And based on our data, we think that we can save about 10 to 20% in hull weight if we properly analyze what kind of ice the ship will encounter, and how we calculate the load, and how we calculate strength. So this is the future, in my opinion, that we don't have to always apply the ice class rules. We can also think about risk-based design, and especially when ice is changing. Ice is different. As you know, these ice class rules, they are based on history and on experience. But when ice is different, can we use the experience? Maybe the future is that we really evaluate the real ice loading. And as you know, also this SMTU, St. Petersburg Maritime Technical University, has done very good work on that. And so this is a very good area where we can cooperate also in future. And then this is my final slide about the other projects we are we are working. We are together with the Finnish government and Finnish travel agency, traffic agency, that we have make a very interesting simulation model about the winter navigation system in the Baltic Sea. That we simulate icebreakers, we simulate cargo vessels, and we simulate how icebreakers cooperate with cargo vessels. And the question is how many icebreakers we need in the let's say in the Baltic Sea, in Finland or in Sweden, in long term. And this simulation model, we are also very happy to cooperate with Russian partners to think about how many icebreakers we need in Gulf of Finland, or how many icebreakers we need in the Northern Sea Road. It's a very good tool. We can also think about cooperation. And the other 2 projects we cooperate at the moment is, we call it In Future. That's this is partly based on European funding and the European Russian funding. And the plan is to think about the future inland waterways. As you know, we have a Lake Saimaa area, and in Russia you have a very extensive river traffic. In that project, we are studying the future concepts for river transport, both in Finnish side, in Russian side. And together with Ake Arctic, we have been developing new type of multi-purpose cargo vessels, ice-strengthened cargo vessels which can work throughout the year on these lake areas. And the other project we heard about is a SIMREC, where we also cooperate with an university in St. Petersburg, Maritime Technical University in St. Petersburg, and that's about how we can improve the cross-border oil spill response in extreme conditions. When we have oil in, let's say, Gulf of Finland, how we cooperate on this oil spill response. It's a very important question, and in that project we especially study what happens in wintertime. If we have oil spill in ice, it makes life much more difficult than in open water. And in this project, we are studying together with our Russian friends and colleagues how we can improve the knowledge about oil spill in ice. So sorry, that was my short presentation about Aalto. And once more, thank you for giving me this chance to present this. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot. I'm willing to add that from our side, from Maritime Technical University, this work is governed by Professor Sychov, which maybe hear us. We visited this wonderful university, which has been mentioned by Pinti, and thanks to Pinti, our guides visited this university several times and visited also other companies, partners of Pinti. Many thanks to you.
Thank you.
And now it will be a good time to shift to session 3, dedicated to the possibilities of export and import cooperation. I'm willing to give the floor to Gavin Dilanin, maybe of the Turkun Pier Yard. And after presentation, we will look onto video. Please, good afternoon, colleagues. Now I will launch my presentation onto screen. 3 seconds. For some reason, I don't see it. Okay, is it well seen? Good afternoon once again. an office in Murmansk. Till now, this will be the company in the persons of several persons. I will be director, and our strategy allows production activity on the territory, and through our partners, through our old friends, and it is possible that we will implement our own projects. We do hope that we will receive not only experience and also good result. And the cooperation with the Russian Federation, we have a good tradition and information heard that a project is fulfilled in Molino to construct the plant to produce industrial and medical gases. The plant will be one of the largest in Europe, and it will cover not only requirements in these products in the Russian Federation, in Europe, and also up to 35% will be re-export to Poland and the Baltic countries, and also to Finland. This will be Permen-Neftegas. This is long-lasting cooperation with Austrian manufacturer. Now I would like to show you short a movie and speak about Taigu. May we launch the movie or clip? May we remove something? We will launch it right now. I will speak now that we designed length 25 meter, to be exact to 25.3. Sometimes it goes wrong. Do you hear me now? Transportation of the body. And all works were organized in Suku, and also in the process of construction, modernization of the tugboat Calypso has been.
There was a tug that belonging to Alphonse Huggins, and
technical
this we talk about two caterpillars.
Two caterpillar.
So some additional caterpillar engine.
Caterpillar. And interest.
This was an interest to this project during the construction.
has
Well,
been
smart
expressed by Smartboard. We
the
agreed
pandemic
that,
was in the way.
once,
We agreed
we
that
test
once
the ship
the
and handing over,
we'll invite them to, for the for the trial and the commissioning.
Future.
Hetki ennen H-hetkeä eli nostoa. Alus on viimeisiä minuutteja tässä rannassa ja kohta ne nostetaan veteen. Jännittää jonkun verran. Kaikkeen ollaan yritetty valmistautua ja kohta nähdään riittääkö se.
Судно будет
the vessel was actually joined with Calypso during the trial, and it was
and now I may add from
successful. It was
myself
docked with
following,
Calypso.
that we have
We've got
long-lasting
long-term,
traditions with educational institutions,
long-term traditions of cooperation
Many
with
graduates
Educational Center of St.
work
Petersburg,
now in all our
and
enterprises,
their
in
graduates
particular,
work
one
at
of
our
them
enterprises,
who graduated
and also can graduate
shipbuilding
the
institute
Marine
is
Technical
director of
University.
Tallinn ship
And we've got good
repair,
and very tight, neat integration
dockyard.
with
Integration is
a
quite
Marine
close.
Technical University.
We will not only keep it, but also
And we need just not to retain this cooperation, but to bring it to a next level. So we're inviting you to our stand at the exhibition.
Our enterprise in St. Petersburg, where
and Turku Shipyard Yard will be one of the founders. Thank you for for good presentation and for advertising the Marine Technical University. During the presentation hearing, so that there will be people from European universities, and she said that. And our organization will represent only by director. In terms of this adjacent part, it was actually it was tested in nice conditions. .7, .8 thick ice. And it provided the ice pilotage, and after the system, there's the tug, and actually this adjacent part, bow part, gives a wider passage. Arctic was designing the shaft line. And final question. I know that this kind of the parts attachments are suggested to be used in Russia as well. Yes, during the signing of the contract and the process of construction, I met with representatives of engineering ideas of the Russian Federation, we combine Russian and Finnish expertise in shipbuilding. These are the leaders, and the more people, the more opinions, and people have different opinions. So let's wait till we get the practical results. As it's known, they can say anything, but why not? It depends on the conditions. So the attachment that's been the ice attachment. This attachment was made for Simon conditions. Is the most appropriate, but it's my subjective opinion. Raima bow attachments also has the idea that the special shape of the bow helps to pass the canal and makes a clear water canal. Okay, thanks a lot. A lot of interesting and stimulating opinions. Now we give the floor to our Finnish colleague, Mika Laurelehto, Vice President Sales of Rauma Marine Productions. Please, Mika. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting Rauma for this webinar, and I'm glad to show you briefly what our company is doing, and potential cooperation, of course, is the topic of today. Rauma Marine Constructions is a relatively fresh company. We were established 2014 at Rauma, and we are a fully domestically Finnish-owned shipbuilding company, and actually largest or let's say the only one of our size, which is a purely Finnish company. We are designing, constructing and maintaining ships, and mainly we are concentrating on car and passenger ferries or RoPax ships, icebreakers, and then Navy and other government authority vessels. And because of the background, of course, we are representing the leading or world leading expertise in Arctic shipbuilding, of course, together with our colleagues in the network companies in Finland. In numbers, RMC, we are in-house experts, around 200 people in-house, and then around 1,000 people working at the shipyard in Rauma, which we are operating. Our order book has grown quite rapidly, and now our order book is around 1.6 billion euros, and net sales for last year was about 220 million euros, and we also made a profit on what we were doing. As said, Rauma is of course an old shipbuilding town, and there are predecessors which have operated in the same premises as we are doing today, and there are a lot of past experience which we are today combining with the latest technology to achieve what we call future-proof vessels for the clients that come to us for the ships. Here you can see some of the innovations during the lifetime of RMC and also previously. There's no need to go through all of those, but the idea here is that we are really trying to be at the sharp end, which means that we are using the experience that we have from previous vessels and combining that with really the latest technologies to achieve eco-efficient, environmentally friendly vessels for the harsh environments that we are building the vessels for. The best way to describe what we are doing is to look at the projects that are ongoing at the moment. We are building, if we start with the one on the right here, Vaasa line, Aurora Botnia is close to completion and delivery. A few words about that a bit later. Then we are building MyStar, the vessel for Tallinn, which will be operating between Tallinn and Helsinki. We recently received another quite a large project for a Tasmanian company called TT Line. These vessels, 2 of them will connect Tasmania with the mainland of Australia, and we are just starting the design of those, final design of those vessels. And then we are also working on the Finnish Defence Forces 4 corvettes for the Finnish Navy. And there we are also quite far already with the design, and the construction will start relatively shortly. So these are the areas where we are working on. All of these vessels are going to be delivered for harsh environments, and besides the TT Line vessel, they will also have quite heavy ice classes. Regarding the Vaasa Line project, which is closest to delivery, this is actually quite a showcase for what we would call a next generation ferry. We have a electric propulsion drive. We have a hybrid dual fuel LNG, LPG, so biogas can be used, and we have, as I said, a hybrid, so we have quite a large battery pack installed on board from the environmental reasons and also from energy efficiency. And also this vessel will operate in relatively heavy ice conditions. It will be the northernmost daily operating ferry route in the world, actually, when it will be delivered to the route between Vaasa and Umeå, between Finland and Sweden. Just to round off the short presentation, I would like to go back a bit in the history. We have had, of course, in Rauma, cooperation with Russian colleagues. So at that time, Rauma Repola delivered the polar research vessel Academic Fedorov, which is still in operation. For me, this is quite an important vessel as well, because when I started actually in Rauma as a trainee, this vessel was under construction, and I was part of the mechanical or machine workshop crew, which installed the Russian delivered electric motor on board the vessel, which is the propulsion motor. That was an interesting summer. I spent most of my summer in the engine room of this vessel before the delivery. And then another one, which was already mentioned in Professor Kujala's presentation, the South African polar research vessel that was delivered by the STX company. Again, the same shipyard, different name. That was delivered in 2012 and has done, as said, 8 missions to Antarctica so far. And what is important with this vessel, and actually similar to this Aurora Botnia, is that we are equipping, this vessel was equipped with, or is equipped with strain gauges and monitoring equipment for monitoring the hull strength or how the hull will experience the ice conditions. And we will do the same together with Aalto again on this Vaasa Line project. So we will get interesting data together with Aalto on these operating vessels. And I think this is an area where we can easily cooperate. And of course, we can also easily cooperate in providing either ships or parts of ships, or for Russian owners, operators, or vice versa. We can of course discuss about equipping ships with Russian products in case they are suitable for what we are building. So that was Rauma Marine Constructions in very brief. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mika.
Thanks, Mikko. Vladimir Nikolaevich, the floor is yours.
Rauma Rekola company.
This dockyard is well known.
Recently.
Recently,
One of the recent tankers.
Recent tankers constructed.
Semaphore type tankers.
But
actually, it was decommissioned. But nevertheless, they've got a great experience in operation in Arctic.
In particular.
And they have a lot of expertise in wear, wear of the equipment, and for the and this all helps to design high-performance ice-class vessels.
Experience and academic Fedorov is the ship which is continually being operated.
Some vessels, real vessels, they were used as test vessels.
Ships in ice conditions, such requirements and
they can actually be the basis for the norms and the requirements for this kind of vessels. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Vesa Klen.
Sales Director.
Vesa Klen.
Okay, thank you.
Craftsman Sales.
Thank you, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. I will share my presentation. There you go. So, Kraftmer companies.
Continue. We're listening to you.
Okay. Yeah. Kraftmer is established in 1991, and since then we design and manufacture tools for shipbuilders. We have pulling tools for pulling and pushing, mechanical ratchet jacks. We have tools for aligning the stiffeners. The idea behind these Palmec and mini Palmec tools is to avoid welding of lugs to the structure and then avoid the cutting off them and grinding the leftovers afterwards. So there is a great amount of time to be saved in the hull assembly work. We have grippers for Holland profiles and lifting equipment also for Holland profiles. These are the basic standard set of products that we manufacture. Over 50 shipyards worldwide is using our tools. Virtually, of course, everybody in Finland, everybody in Norway, and also in Russia, Baltic shipyards since 2015, with the bigger amount of tools. They seem to be happy because they keep ordering more. We have a representative in Russian Federation. It's called Intratool in Moscow. But to get to the cooperation possibilities, the big theme in Russia lately has been the productivity and modernization and standardization of the shipbuilding industry and the shipyards, actually. So I know it is, for the director, it is nice to stand by the multi-million-dollar automatic robot welding line when it's new, but one must remember that also the parts that come out from the line must be somehow put together and ultimately put together as a ship. And when you're joining the plates and sections and erecting the hull, that is manual work. And that's where we can help. And in my opinion, with these relatively small investments, say, for example, from Kraftmer tools, one can save great amount of time, increase the safety of the workers, and be more productive. So therefore, I would like to propose to United Shipbuilding Corporation that we create a standard package of tools which is then introduced to all the relevant shipyards, maybe starting from the bigger ones. Paldiski shipyard already know our products. Then there are, of course, shipyards in east and north and south, where these can be very well utilized. So that is my proposal for the cooperation, and hope that it will lead to something and a mutual working together. Thank you.
Thank you. And now let me give the floor to Dmitry Rodsky, Director General of Present Baltica Company. Dmitry, the floor is yours. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Do you hear me? Yes, we hear you well. While waiting for your presentation, you have to open it at your laptop and press the button screen demonstration. It is below the screen of conference. It is a green one. Till now, not yet, not yet. Please press the button, screen demonstration. Do you see it? Do you see the button? Yes, I found the button. First, you have to launch presentation at your laptop. It is launched already, and then come to the conference and press the button screen demonstration. Then we'll see your presentation. Do you succeed? Do you fail? Now we see it. We see it. And press right button of your mouse and launch a slideshow of your presentation. Wonderful. Now we see everything very well. Our company, my name is Dmitry Rotsy. I'm Director General of Regen Baltica Company. Our company has been founded in 2004, and main vector of our activity is engineering in area of newest technologies we produce, and at this time we deliver equipment and technological solutions to be applied of polyurethane foaming and making films on its basis. And now at this time, our production is well delivered. Our partners, we have partners in training, and we have engineering center. As of today, most advanced direction is development of Cryogen materials on basis of foam polyurethane. On this project allows issuing and producing isothermic cryogen panels for storage, transportation, and transportation of liquefied natural gas and hydrogen. And appropriately at this time, we delivered several systems for isolation of tanks for gas transporters, isolation of gas for membrane systems like CTG, and today we are involved in localization of using technical drawings of panels GTT, Mark T, Mark III flat, and also we delivered system of national-made systems, Russian systems, to be applied for different systems. And on right top, we show our production to insulate tanks, fuel tanks for vessels during transition from diesel to liquefied gas. Traditionally, we produce machines of high pressure, and we develop technical lines cycle to produce in engineering center, deliver systems and tested jointly with Russian Sea University, take into account requirements to Cryogen polyurethane armed, reinforced for low temperatures down to 106 or minus 164 degrees Celsius. Accordingly, we are involved in other directions of the shipbuilding, also from furniture building, composite materials technology. Our technology is used for different kinds of light water resistant systems for furniture, for ships, and also we have competence for our customers to produce sea navigation systems, floating navigation equipment, and systems of noise and vibration isolation. This is examples of our equipment which we produce. The equipment is made from 2007. We have our own equipment and our own company, and we are ready to, according to the decree of the Russian government, we shifted into import substitution in the framework of Russian projects. Today, we have cooperation with European universities for training and testing in welding of membrane for liquefied gas transportation, and we received European certificate for projects both in Russia and Europe to install these cryogen sections, and appropriately we deliver materials and that is all for today. Thank you, Dmitry. Thank you, Dmitry. And let me give the floor to Alexander Troitsky, Director General, Non-Use Engineering. Alexander, are you with us? Unfortunately, Alexander is absent, but there is Vladimir who will substitute it at this conference. Vladimir, please, the floor is yours. I hope he will cope with this task. May I widen the screen? We have to give the right to Vladimir. Everything is done.
We are working with colleagues from India, it's Manias, and we are making the dredging equipment. Our main product is a 2D positioning system that consists of two parts, software and hardware. And we are developers of the first and the second part. And we create the system that allows the operator to see the side profile of the bottom and gives the dredger the map of the depths. And it makes the performance of the operator more efficient. And for the it reduces the cost, and this system being installed on the equipped on the vessel, it's increase the performance of this dredging vessel. Dredger, some sensors are installed on the vessel, and GPS compass is also installed. And then we can operate using our system because it allows a positioning and can be this system can be installed on all types of dredgers. The second product, it's the system of production performance registration. And it allows, the system allows to increase and work with the performance, increase it to the maximum. And it follows the processes that clog with the pipe with the silt. And for the managers of this kind of system, it will be for the managers of this kind of system will be useful for making some database statistics, which unit is performing better, which unit is performing worse, and how much of soil has been reclaimed. And it will let to track the energy consumption and material consumption. And it's actually classically it was isotope performance. It was made as an isotope sensor, isotope instrument. But tradition was used globally. But now we made a step ahead, and we start making non-isotope sensors. And the main actually the attractive part is that there is no radioactive materials on board the vessel, and also it's care for the people, care for the environment, and actually also it reduces some limitations, some restrictions, and we get an it also gives the advantage on isotope solution. It can be combined with a system of a positioning GPS system of our dredger. This complex is all the sensors are installed attached to the pipe. They're not cut into any systems. And this system allows to be installed on the newly built fleet and built vessels, and also on the already operating vessels. So those who are interested, you can come up to our stand at Nivar exhibition, and we can have a lot of references in terms of trials that we've performed. Vinci Construction is a French company, French-located company. It's dedicated to studies of radiation. It's made in cupola made the dome of a Chernobyl reactor. It's running tests involving our company on of isotope density meters, and isotope density meters of different producers. Also, we made joint tests on the vessel by CCCCC, and very low. It showed a test showed very low error of our system. Currently, so these are the clients using non-isotope solutions. It's big players on the market. Some are from Russia, some from other countries, and some other countries that are Russian-based but work abroad. Also, one of our developments, it's a subsea vision system. We developed it funded by the Foundation of Innovation Promotion Support. The operator who works on this dredger can see what's going on this on the bed, on the bottom, with in real time. So initially we were speaking about the mathematical modeling system, and this is real-time visualization system. So the operator can see what's going on the riverbed on the bottom in real time, and lets the operator operate with highest accuracy. I think that soon this actually hasn't been released, delivered, but I think it'll find its customer. I'm finalizing my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. So thank you very much. I'd like Finnish colleagues, maybe Professor Kolla, say some words about this. What our Finnish colleagues about Nonius company, what can you say, Professor Kolla?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Vladimir, very interesting presentation. It seems that you are a very high-tech company, that you have this kind of 3D vision, that's a fusion, this kind of sensor and how to monitor an environment. So thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. You have a very good product.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to add, actually, this topic, on previous online conferences is popping up constantly about the dredging topic, and Nonius engineering is in the vanguard of this in the cutting edge companies. So actually you can see what you're doing and you can steer. And also this kind of approach makes all the process very efficient. Finland rents about 20 kilometers of Saimaa Canal, and starting 22 to 2024, we'll see the modernization of the canal is planned. So this is opportunity of cooperation of our Russian companies like Nonius Engineering with Finnish companies. Aquamec, for instance. Interesting topic. Thanks a lot again. Weisman, Commercial Director, the marine propulsion complexes. Good afternoon, dear participants, dear colleagues. Firstly, thank you for invitation to participate in this conference and to greet all the participants. Participants are the leaders in shipbuilding and shipping, and we are as a young company. It's actually it's a great honor and pleasure to discuss our common topics. I'll brief you on our companies, our goals and objectives in about our nearest future. Company was founded in 2015, and until 2019 it has the name Mechanica R, and starting 2020 it says the brand of marine propulsion complexes. We are targeted at propulsion systems of container type for support vessels and for dredges and barges. So for the units for power plants from 200 kilowatt to 1,000 kilowatt. We consider also we can consider 200 to 350 megawatt. Till present time, we've actually applied and we participated in many competitions in and sometimes we manage to outperform some well-known competitors. On picks the first project, 6 propulsion complexes of 400 kilowatt each. And you can see in the center, you can see a picture of our first barge with these propulsion units with diesels. These 3 barges are in operation in the basin of the Black Sea. We made it for the seaport. The second project. We made 2 azimuth thrusters, 400 kilowatt each, for ice 1 and ice class 1. And so we've also succeeded in this. So we want to build up and increase our participation level in the projects. I forgot to mention before the propulsion complexes and azipods. You can see in the picture we made the cargo pontoons. So for atom float, it was successful. The pontoons for atom float was successful project, and this year we are running 2 projects. It's a propulsion complexes for the dredgers, being actually under construction at shipbuilding facility Lotus, and also bow thrusters. With 1,000 kilowatt power for universal ships for the Butama shipyard. I think we'll be able to participate in more projects, and we are working in this direction. Our company is a small size company, but nevertheless, actually it employs, we've got very experienced specialists, and we've got a very strong design group, and we think that in our Russian shipbuilding market we'll be able to actually get our niche using our competitive edge. It's a competence. You've seen our equipment. We design and we manufacture this equipment. And actually we can customize all our products, just listening to the customers' demand, and we can answer these demands. We are part of the consortium. Actually, manufacturer thrust is a mechanism consortium, and we are part of this consortium. And also we provide after-sales service, which is again a benefit for the customer. One of the areas of activity we are developing now is not just production of isopods, but the ones with the controllable pitch propellers. And we are actually busy doing this, and understand that addressing the companies that are well known in this company, in this area, and they're interested. So I would like to invite these companies to this kind of technological partnership. And for the Russian market, and we can make a joint product with some of the companies. So I invite other companies for the joint work. Firstly for the Russian market, and then some product for the international market. So if somebody is interested in our proposal, we are ready for all contacts, and you've got all the information about us, so please approach us.
Thanks.
Very good.
Good beginning of your company, and pay attention
very good.
Our Finnish colleagues.
Actually ideas, and so there is appeal to our Finnish colleagues to start.
And now let me give the floor to moderator of
and
the
I'll
next
give the floor to the fourth session
of Russian-Finnish cooperation
in yachting and small size
Anastasia
vessels. To Anastasia.
Many thanks. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm very pleased to be invited to take part in this small size and small tonnage shipbuilding. Russian-Finnish cooperation in this area is quite active. We have a common sea, and we are not far from each other. I would ask to launch my presentation. I would try to be brief and give the floor to my colleagues. I always start our presentation with the words that Russia is a very large country, and these indications have much impact on the product which we produce. Very often internal waters of Russia, 55,000 kilometers, very often the only way to reach hardly reachable areas, and boats and small size ships which we produce are object of these requirements. Plus continental climate in Russia varying from minus 50 to plus 50 has impact onto shipbuilding. Small size ships correspond and are registered in inspection for small size ships if are not intended to be commercially used. If they are commercially used, this is a sea or river register. In Russia, we have approximately 800 enterprises involved with shipbuilding. They are related to small size enterprises where we have from 20 to 80 employees, and large number of these enterprises are related to so-called state contracts. Plus enormous plus for us need to use foreign components, and according to decree of the Russian government, to the next year Russian components need to be at least 15% of our components. We call our foreign partners to think about localization and accreditation. Localization is supported at the state level. If Finnish companies are interested, please address us. Coming back to specific areas, we have enormous experience in construction of vessels. As distinct from Russian countries, we have no limitations regarding noise. We operate such ships. We export them to Africa, to West, and we speak always that we have enormous equipment in building ships with hydroplanes and underwater wings, and we are very active in this direction. direction. And a couple of words, what is the key production from point of view small size ships, aluminium and steel-made ships? So we have a very big experience, although production from Soviet times we meet the standards, rigorous standards. So pleasantly looking from design
but maybe it's not that nice design, but actually it's very useful, and our Finnish colleagues know it.
Our Finnish
very
colleagues
durable.
know this. At the exhibition, Niva, a project has been presented for electrical ship. Last year, it took part in navigation. It received approximately 11 contracts for delivery
supply
of these vessels. Ships. I do hope that in the nearest future
we'll see the old line of these vessels.
All line of
it's shallow draft vessels of great
ships,
attention.
Lower submersible ships and water injection ships are made in Yaroslavl. And please pay attention, a couple of projects which are made by Ushakovsky and Kaliningrad projects, small size enterprises, which are in the portfolio of a unified ship construction company. We have a large experience in work with composite materials, and we have delivered a project of small or large size passenger cruising vessel. And we had large step ahead. Our export increased by 40%. We conducted approximately 40 foreign events with the support of the Russian government. I do hope that my colleague from Finland, director of Finboat company, will speak about it. And at the end, in Russia, small size companies include approximately 3,000 companies, small size shops. Certainly pandemic, this is a strike below the belt regarding delivery of engines. We're under sanctions, and despite the fact that manufacturing enterprise stops, Russia is served in the last row. If you have the way how to solve it, this will be great. And in conclusion, I invite our Finnish colleagues to come to Russia, and I do hope that Finnish and Russian co-chairman will speak about it. And certainly I do hope that we'll see each other at a session of small size ships and exposition at the Niva exhibition. This is the end. Many thanks to you. I give the floor to my colleague Anna Shoemaker. She will speak about infrastructure and experience of localization of Finnish companies in Russia. Many thanks for your attention. Ready to answer all questions in chat or by mail. One question. You mentioned that large problems in delivery of motors. I have to add that everybody has problems because of pandemic. Delivery of spare parts from very esteemed company are in arrears by 2 or 3 months in arrears. And regarding motors, I may say that that the queue in Estonia is approximately 4 months. Many thanks for comments. I have to mention that plants when they were in standstill. If in Europe they have plans for delivery in 3 or 4 months, unfortunately our contracts are going to the next year. Many thanks for your comment. Anna Shoemaker, I'm asking organizers to launch my presentation. Please bring Anna's presentation onto the screen. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the occasion to give my speech. I have sent my presentation. If it is possible to launch it, this would be nice. And may you launch it from your laptop? It seems to me I have technical problems with my laptop. Okay, in this case, let just 5 minutes speak about the situation which is in Russia, about yachtings and the construction of yachts infrastructure and your experience of work with Finnish companies. Do you see my screen? Not yet. Please launch your presentation, press the button, share your screen. Do you see it? Okay. Unfortunately, I failed to show my screen. I would ask my colleagues and organizers to launch if they succeed. That would be nice. Just a second. This one. I'm willing to speak about experience of localization of Finnish companies, Maritech, which works in production and delivery of floating and mooring equipment, and specialization of company is production of concrete mooring equipment and equipment made from wood and metal. Maritech is head company located in Finland. Maritech Finland Oy and a group of Maritech company is a leading constructor in yacht infrastructure and manufacturer of floating mooring structures. It works in 45 countries and has in 12 countries local production. During more than 30 years of history, more than 2,000 marines were made in 40 countries of the world. Activity of the company started in Russia in 2001, when first directly from Finland applications came to deliver mooring equipment for yacht clubs and marines. From 2001 and 2002, there were sporadic sales through agent structure, direct deliveries of import structures from Finland. But by the end of 2002, it became clear that the interest is quite high. And in 2003, a joint enterprise between Russia and Finland has been created. Did you succeed in launching presentation? Presentation has been launched. I'm on clicker. And accordingly, while first joint venture existed quite short, only a year and a half, one of the serious companies came into a situation when, under quite serious project with large scope of investment, a Russian customer did not confirm its intention financially, and the company became bankrupt. A Russian company became bankrupt to implement a serious project. However, understanding in which way we may continue working and protect our investments, in 2004, with the support of Finnish companies, separate Russian entity has been created on contractual basis, received an occasion to use the brand and to conduct an independent activity on behalf of the head company. And deliveries took part from Finland, and Russian company has been exporter. This was quite interesting and dynamic period of development till 2009, when small-sized yacht clubs in Moscow area and St. Petersburg were constructed, and Russian company, in fact, became distributor. It became one of the leading company in world brands. Separate affiliated company were created, where designing installation of mooring equipment was made. But crisis of 2008 has stricken seriously the activity, and in fact, some projects were completed, and then the market started stagnating, and activity of the enterprise stopped. This led to analysis of steps which were conducted. The company lost its personnel and production stopped. Only in 2010, new joint venture has been created where, with main accent onto localization, not import of concrete platforms from Finland and from other European countries, localization of production in St. Petersburg. The company Maritech SPD, as of today, it is a member of group of companies Maritech, and the work at the Russian market with local production. It fulfilled more than 50 projects, starting from development of the concept till delivery of marine equipment. Next slide, please. We may skip it. I would like to focus on analysis of experience of localization. First of all, in principle, company went through consecutive and correct way what it tested. It tested the market. Initially, it was, Finnish company was exporter, and then it came to local production and localization on license basis. When the market started growing in beginning of 2000, on account of high standards and high quality, the company focused on Russian market, and finally, large team of professionals and specialists came. Several steps especially joined us later. On the other hand, from point of view of the company from Finland, there were some mistakes, quite slow moving from step to step. Strategic decisions were quite late, they in arrears of the market. And booming growth of the market required more active investments and actions, both in distribution and localization of production. And in fact, appearance of local competitors has been lost, and acquisition of licenses from Europe, it led to the fact that companies appeared, and lack of financing and insufficient support by the head company led to the fact that the local company has been faced difficulties in financing of own projects. There were crises of 2008 with the loss of personnel. As of today, the company Maritech St. Petersburg is active, and I will show later another project which continue being implemented in St. Petersburg. What is important is that according to our view, it is necessary to be more active for foreign head company need to be more active. It needs to fill the market, trusting to local representative office and take into account the tendencies of the market. And now let's go ahead. My presentation touched also situation in development of the yacht infrastructure for small size vessels in the Northwest. it needs to be discussed, take into account number of small size vessels, and we see dynamics and graph of registered small size ships. As of today, this is more than 50,000 vessels. Next slide, please. On this slide, we show distribution according to the length of the vessel. It is seen that there are small size ships up to 9 meters long, and average growth is quite large, in average 4%. And what has been mentioned by my colleague Anastasia, during recent years, growth is quite quick, and import substitution is quite important. Next slide, please. This slide will represent different yacht clubs of St. Petersburg. Next slide, please. I must say that as of today, St. Petersburg feels a deficit of staying places for large-size yachts. In view of local problems related to ownership and land, many yacht clubs closed, and infrastructure is in arrears significantly from demand. Next slide. Different projects were declared and implemented to widen marine of Yacht Club St. Petersburg up to 720 ships. Next slide, please. And serious project development of the marine with the place of winter size storage in Kronstadt for 550 places. All these projects say that there is a demand, there is an interest. So for this reason, for further development, we need an arrival of foreign guests, of foreign yachts, including Finnish yachts. First of all, we need to have conditions. So we are waiting when limitations related to pandemics come to the end. Many thanks.
How you can enter St. Petersburg. Vladimir is the chairman of the committee, International Committee of St. Petersburg Sales Boats Association, and also he's dealing with receiving of regatta and sales races in St. Petersburg. Speak into the microphone. Please turn the microphone on. And select the Russian channel. So you press translation and you pick the Russian channel. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? The visibility is not the best one, unfortunately. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I had no time for creating full-scale presentation, so I'll just speak with no images. As it's been said, as Anastasia said, as I'm chairman of executive committee of Sales Ship Union. So we are short on time. So I'll dwell on main difficulties. So we'll get a lot of good points, but there's some problems as well. So what does the preparation of foreign yacht for a visit to Russia? It's first of all, it's visa issues. Unfortunately, currently, the e-visa has been talked about And actually it's revving up and speeding up, but unfortunately they're not accepted at Port Constantine checkpoint. And the authorities explain, Port Constantine authorities explain that they don't have the relevant equipment. Well, they're working on that. So maybe in the future the situation will improve. In terms of the visas, the alternative is the tourist visa can be the alternative. And we recommend to apply for visa support for tourist organizations, for traveling agencies, or relevant organizations for making business visas or humanitarian visas. Also, alternative for the current season, the alternative can be it's a passport of the supporter of football championship of Europe supporter. So you can actually it's posted in the internet. It's uploaded in the internet. Then the pass, getting the pass. In the region recently, there were 2 checkpoints. Checkpoints. It's Viborg, and Kronstadt, Port Constantine. 2 checkpoints, entrance checkpoints for vessels. But Viborg is still closed for the 4th season, and the only one acting in Fort Constantine checkpoint is the only acting one, which creates problems. And I'll talk about it in more detail later on. In terms of small size ships, so in both ways, the registration is made at Saimaa Canal, and there is a transit agreement between Finland and Russia. So you can go to Saimaa Lakes or opposite direction. Sailing has no problems. In terms of bringing some goods, bring in the teams. You need all the passports of the team, all the documents for the vessel, for the ship, and you fill out the customs declaration forms. And next point, in terms of the ship calls into the port of St. Petersburg. Unfortunately, we're short on time. In terms of customs registration, dear Finnish colleagues, Vladimir Kim, chairman of International Committee, has its website. You can address all questions to him via the internet. We're very short on time. I would like to speak Finnish colleagues. Please to listen to Finnish colleagues. We'd like to give the floor to Director of Association of Finnish Shipbuilding, Jarkko. Can you hear me? We're giving you the floor.
Yes, thank you.
We are looking for your figures.
Just a moment. All right. I hope you can hear me and see my screen. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you for the invitation. I will give you a brief overview of the boating industry in Finland. So I represent the Marine Industry Association, Finboat. We are the industry association of the recreational marine industry here in Finland. So just briefly what Finland does produce, starting from the smallest rowing boats to the biggest yachts. So we cover all sizes and types of vessels. We have on the top right-hand corner an example of a sailing yacht. Actually, already in the super yacht class, we have Baltic Yachts and Nautor. These two companies. Those companies produce 99 to 100% to export. So the market itself in Finland covers everything else except these super yachts. So majority of the production as well as the market in Finland is with outboard motorboats, around half being with aluminum hull. And then we have the bigger yachts, the motor yachts, including inboard engine, and those we have several brands and makers. Botnia Marine, Targa being probably the most famous, but Targa, Sargo, Nordstar, these are also the ones exporting to Russia. And then we have a number of companies producing outboard motorboats, starting with Inha Works, which is the biggest with their Booster and Yamarin brands. We export around over 10,000 craft per year, around 250 million euros worth. And Russia has been in the top 10 markets already for a while. But 2/3 of our export goes to Scandinavia or Sweden and Russia specifically. When it comes to imports, Russia has not so far been in the top 5 countries. We import around 9,000 units and little over 50 million euros worth of craft, and majority is personal watercraft, which is manufactured in Mexico, and this is by far the biggest. A majority of them are also re-exported to other countries, including Russia. If I jump straight into the Finnish-Russian trade in the recreational boating business, from Finland to Russia, the exports last year were 853, and most of them were the personal watercraft. So out of 11 million euros worth of turnover, the personal watercraft was 7 million, and these are the ones mostly made in Mexico. But then we have a decent and growing business also in the 7.5 to 12 meter range of inboard motorboats. And that's what I mentioned, the types of Targa, Sargo, Nordstar, even Grandezza from Finmaster. So this is really the type of exports, and looking at the trend over the years, it is growing. It has been, obviously in the past, it has been over a 20 million value, and now we have just surpassed the 10 million range. What do we import then from Russia? 78 boats were imported last year, 800,000 euros worth, and these were really the outboard engine motorboats below 7.5 meter. And if we look at the registered boats in Finland, we can see now this year, obviously the year has just begun, but in the top 10 registered boats, there is already a Russian boat, which is V-boats. So their aluminum boats are doing very well. And we can see, and I can say that the trend is there also growing. So slowly but surely, the trade is growing both ways, from Finland to Russia and from Russia to Finland. If we look at some other, besides boats, we do have also a nice manufacturing. It's not in terms of value, a huge, maybe 10% worth of the boat exports is our boating equipment exports. So I could mention a couple of companies here. So obviously, being from the cold north, we have the heater manufacturers Vallas and Sapphire, And what is particular with these companies that they have been designed and built for marine applications, and this is important. There are some large companies from, for example, from Germany, and their starting point has always been automotive. So there's a difference when it comes to heaters specifically designed for marine applications. And then I would like to raise one company in the electric propulsion field, which is Oceanvolt, and they've been pioneering the electric propulsion already for years. Obviously, there are now a lot more competition than in the past, but they are still among the trendsetters in the electric propulsion field, and I think there would be plenty of interest in Russia for that. In case you're interested to see how the market looks like or to see what type of products are available in Finland, I can warmly recommend the two main annual events in boating. Always in February, we have Helsinki Boat Show, and this is by far the biggest boat show in Northern Europe. Over 500 boats and over 70,000 people visit every year. This year was an exception since decades, unfortunately, with COVID-19. We couldn't have a physical boat show, but next year is coming, and I think the epidemic is going now away in a fairly nice pace. But then August is always the time for our in-water boat show, and this is in Helsinki, very convenient location. It's called Uiva or Helsinki Boat to Float Show. There's over 280 boats, over 13,000 people visit, and it's always 4 days in August. Next one being in 19th and 22nd this year. So I think this was briefly the overview. Can of course answer questions in case you are interested to hear further details. So thank you.
Can I say some finalizing words? Erkka, thanks for the information. So the volume of Russian-Finnish is speeding up. And speaking about the Russian distributors in Russia in Finnish boats, there is a request to Russify the navigation equipment to make, because Russian people don't know the Finnish language so far very well. So in terms of the equipment components, we can make a separate session between our companies to discuss these points. Thanks a lot.
Sure, thank you.
And I'm giving the floor to finalize our conference. Thanks a lot, Anastasia. Very interesting session. And I'm giving the floor to Svetlana Mezhueva, that you know very well. It's Niva International. Again, good afternoon. My name is Svetlana Mezhueva. I represent the International Department of Company Niva International. And I would like to start my presentation. Niva International is the organizer of international exhibition conference on civil shipbuilding, shipping, offshore energy, ports, inland waterways, and oceanography. And the next event will take place on 21st to 24th of September 2021. It's one of the biggest shipbuilding exhibition in Eastern Europe, and it's first exhibition in Russia that in top 10. It was set up in 1990, and traditionally the event is supported by Ministry of Trade and Industry and Trade, Russia, Minister of Transport and Minister of Foreign Affairs, and also state institutions and non-NGOs who promote industry, export and cooperation. So you can see the participant statistics. It encompasses exhibition, also encompasses all sectors, and actually the exhibitors, the shipbuilders, shipping companies, technology, materials, ship repair suppliers, and producers of offshore equipment and port equipment. And the 2019 exhibition reached the top performance with 654 exhibitors from 29 countries. It was taking place at its Expo Forum Convention Exhibition Center. It is one of the cutting-edge venues in Europe. As Expo Forum and International QR code that confirms the safety, compliance with the safety requirements of the event. Expo Forum creates some buffer zones in the areas, and the dispenses with the means of individual protection. Also, to provisions, they measure your temperature, and the agenda of the exhibition of Nivois also takes into account all the requirements of distance placement of the visitors. This currently we are at full swing. The preparation for the Nivois exhibition preparation going full swing, and we're over 95% of the area has been booked. We've got Finland, Germany, Korea, Turkey, Japan, and other countries. Exhibitors are registered, and it's the first time when Nivois will take place along with Transtech. Over 40 events are planned under the Nivois that are dedicated to the most urgent topics of business. And you can go to the website of the exhibition, and we can provide to the domestic and the foreign companies all the opportunity to speak about their achievements, and you can make presentation in the core program, and you can arrange your own session. And it will hybrid format. Nivois will have hybrid format, so all the participants can participate in online version. We can also the partner of the exhibition, and this way strengthen the image of your company. Is a different kinds of partnership. Simply we address us, and we guide you in more details. Tradition Nivois is a company with a very dense cultural program. You get gala dinner, it's boat trips, the opportunity of B2B contacts for all our foreign and other city exponents. We've got tourist service that can support you with all visa and accommodation issues. So we'll provide you with all the best conveniences for productive work. This slide shows our contacts. I want to pay our Finnish colleagues attention to the fact that we've got our official representative in Finland, Sanna Jokinen. So you can address Sanna, and we'll be glad to see you. In terms of Russian companies, if you haven't made decision to participate in the event, we'll be glad to see you all involved in shipbuilding industry. Thank you for your attention. It's with Svetlana International. So let me
say a couple of words
for conclusion, to conclude our very interesting event. our online conference, Finland, Russia, Prospects of Development and Cooperation in Shipbuilding area.
According to my view,
I think our Finnish colleagues will agree.
With us.
So we've had very interesting dialogue, very interesting discussions, and we've strengthened the contacts.
And different companies
so various companies from both sides know better how to start cooperating and negotiating and cooperating. So I would like to thank everybody for your participation. I would like to thank our co-moderators, Pentti Koilan, and to thank Neva International in person of Anna Guseva, Svetlana Mizhova, Daria Kursunova, so was arranging this project. Very, and Sessia Kobzeva was also interested in the fourth block. So thank you and see you at the exhibition Neva 2021.